All right, welcome to another Larson Life Group meeting. Those of you who are live are like, why are you introducing this again? Because everything is for the YouTube replay. My name is Jim Larson. I am direct to Symmetry Financial Group as the owner of the Larson Life Group. And I'm direct to Symmetry by way of Jamie and Corey, Sarah and Jared Reinecke, Jacob Pogue, and Marshall Wayland in that hierarchy. Blessed to also be an equity partner in the company thanks to the incomparable Kelly Bush. Tonight in this meeting here, we're going to chat about profitability. I'm going to go ahead, share my screen. We're going to dive right in, as we always do, and part of our culture and who we are as an agency that participates in culture and does not just consume culture. Those of you who are live, if you can be camera on, be camera on. If you can engage in the comments, engage in the comments. We want to get to know you, so you are not just a blank box with a name. We want to get to know your personality and who you are so we can better come behind you, support you to hitting your goals. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get this party started. All right. Profitability in your business. Can we all see this okay? Amber, I'm looking at you specifically because you're the first one I see on my screen. All right, let's go to my view, make sure we can just go one page at a time here. All right, profitability, just business 101. It's about net revenue, guys. It's profit minus loss. So you're gonna take the money you made minus the money you spent to make that. You're gonna come up with your net revenue. This is the money you're making. This is business. So I wanna hear in the comments, when we talk about loss, we talk about liabilities, we talk about things that are taking our money. In our business, what are those things? In fact, namely, what is the biggest cost that we have? Where is it? Leads, 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 leads. And how many businesses outside of our channel would feel like advertising is the biggest cost that they face? This is not an uncommon thing in business. Every business is going to create a product or service to take to market, and they might have something awesome. But if nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter how awesome it is. And this becomes the challenge for a business. They're going to create this incredible product or service that is going to solve a problem in the marketplace for people. And then they need advertising, marketing, and salespeople to actually get this out there and gain awareness and get people to realize it's going to solve their problems and be willing to trade their money for the solution to that problem. Right? This is, and so for us, that's leads. It's getting us in front of the people who have the problem we solve. This is not hard. This is business. No matter what business you have, your goal is to get in front of the people who have the problem you solve. If every business is just solving a problem, you need to get in front of the people who have the problem you solve. This is leads. It is advertising. It is marketing. This is so much of our business. So that's going to be your biggest liability. So if that's your biggest liability, then getting a good return on that is going to be your profit. And your net revenue is going to be how good that ratio is. Your ratio of converting your lead cost, I will tell you straight up, in Symmetry's big, giant, average world, the average agent is earning a 4x return on their lead spend. What does that mean? An average agent that spends $500 on leads is going to earn $2,500. $500 will reimburse their cost, and they're going to end up with a net revenue, profit $2,500, loss $500, net revenue $2,000 on their lead spend. This is average. Good agents like a Jeremy Fine or an Ashton DeLonga Lundy, good agents are going to earn a 10x return. They're going to take their $500 in lead spend. They're going to turn that into $5,500, profit of $5,500, loss of $500. They're going to make, LaTanya James, they're going to make $5,000 on a $500 investment. These are average numbers. Brand new agents might have a 0x return on their lead spend. because they don't know how to talk to people yet. That is an art form. In the comments right now, I'm reading Sarah Wheatcroft. She and I have been doing a lot of coaching together over the last couple of weeks, but those two I named, Ashton and Jeremy, she says, changed how I talk to and view my conversations. There's an art form to getting good at this conversion rate. If you're brand new, so much of being brand new is establish your ratios as soon as possible. So myself and your mentor as coaches know how and where you're struggling so we can jump in and help you tighten that ratio. So net revenue is going to be profit minus loss. Gross revenue, that money coming in, that profit side of the equation, comes from policies issued. Comes from policies issued. Issuing policies is everything. Your policies issued is going to come from your issue rate of applications submitted. Okay? Policies issued is the issue rate of applications submitted. What do I mean by issued? What makes a policy? There are two elements to an issued policy. Who knows what the two elements to an application becoming an issued policy are? Paid and signed, accepted. There it is. Amber's got both of them. They were all there. Approved and for, yeah, Anna's got it too. The two elements to a policy getting issued or an application turning into an issued policy are, one, the insurance company approves the application. They say, yes, we're going to accept this person under these terms. And two, the person says, yep, I agree, and I'm going to make that first premium payment. That's an issued policy. Both of those are important pieces. This is why, in a way, we are brokers. We are brokering a deal between the insurance company and the client. We're bringing them together to make a deal. And a policy gets issued when the two parties agree to the deal. And the insurance company says, yep, we'll do that. And the client says, yeah, I'll pay for that. That's an issued policy. It's going to pay you commission. Okay, so policies issued is going to base on that issue rate. How good are you at matching your client's needs to the right policy? So both the insurance company accept it, and two, the client's like, yep, this is worth it to me. Your application submitted is the conversion rate of the appointments held. How many of the appointments you hold, what is your conversion rate to closing those and submitting applications? These are just ratios. Your appointments held is your conversion rate of appointments set. Of the ones you set, how many are actually showing up on that time you both agreed to get back on the phone? Of the appointments set is going to be the conversion rate of your dials answered. Of the human beings you spoke to, how many of them were you able to bypass that first layer of resistance and set that appointment? Your dials answered is a straight up conversion rate of dials made. And dials made is your work commitment from leads purchased and contacts leveraged, right? So these are just ratios, and we know averages. And we know in every step what it should look like. So if your conversion rate is off, we know there are elements and there are places and we know exactly where and how to help you. But what we want is for you to protect families and put money in your pocket. That's why we're here. And so that's going to base on making enough dials to set enough appointments, to run enough appointments, to submit enough applications, to issue enough business. Okay? Issue rate. Issue rate is that conversion between the number of applications you submitted, the APV or annual premium volume of the applications you submitted, to the applications approved and issued. Put a 4 in the comments if you have had applications get declined or not paid. A lot of us, right? A lot of us. I mean, you can't be in this business and not. I mean, even the best agents, you're talking 80%, 90% issue rates. So everyone's going to deal with this. We've all had applications declined. Put a 5 in the comments if you had trouble getting them back to the table with a new deal. You're a broker, right? You broker deals between two parties. You brokered one deal, the deal fell through. Look at these fives. You had trouble as the broker getting people back to the table. I don't want you to have trouble doing that. And the biggest way I can help you not have trouble doing that is help you get better at your field underwriting so that you're matching people with something that will actually issue. And if you get it issued, it's going to be better, because here's what happened with the client applications. Clients are going to be disappointed, especially if, and I shouldn't just put a blanket, it's going to be disappointing. We've talked about this before. All of our emotional reactions to anything in the world as human beings are based on what? Let's see how many people follow me enough to know my big talking points. There it is. Amber knows me. Your emotional reaction to anything in the world doesn't occur in a vacuum. It occurs relative to your expectations. So if your client expects it's going to be approved and it doesn't, then they're disappointed. If they expect, hey, this may or may not issue, it's risky, I think it will, I'm not sure, but no worries if it doesn't, I've got a backup plan. Well, now if it doesn't, you set that expectation, so they're not disappointed. But if you don't set that expectation, often it can disappoint them. It's going to require a pivot. A pivot, meaning you're going to have to pivot to a different company, different product, because that first one didn't work. You also didn't protect anyone. Their family's still vulnerable, and you didn't make a dime. You set the appointment, you ran the appointment, you got them to agree, you went through the application, you submitted it, and you didn't make a dime, and the family is still not protected. Guys, making money is better than not making money, right? Like, I'm right. Let's fix this. Field underwriting is all about matching the client with the right policy that they're going to qualify for. I'm going to highly, highly recommend, if you have not done it, maybe even if you have, if this is not a comfortable process for you, or if your issue rate is below 70%, you have to stop what you're doing, go to larsonlifegroup.com/onboarding, scroll to the bottom and see that help. I need help matching people with the right policy. Go there, because in that video, I'm going to walk you through the exact process in how you should take their data as a client, their qualification data, and how you should use that to match them with a policy that they're likely going to approve for. But you're going to leverage SFG quotes. You're going to leverage within that the underwriting matrix. You're going to leverage the underwriting GroupMe. And this is going to be a surprise, especially for some new people who have been through Summit and and these two things have been talked about big. You're going to exercise a lot of caution with both Virtual Mentor and Navigator. Both of these are tools that are in progress, and I'm going to tell you who they are very good for. They are very good for agents who do not have supportive agencies and mentors. So if you're a solo agent, you're kind of by yourself, you're always part of a team in Symmetry, but maybe it's not a supportive team. Maybe you don't have much help. Maybe you don't have good mentorship. Well, you've got Virtual Mentor and Navigator, and they're there and they're designed to help you, but they are not nearly as good as we are as a collective experienced agency. You don't want to rely on them more than you rely on us. And what do? We leverage SFG quotes, we leverage the underwriting matrix, and we leverage the underwriting GroupMe. Okay? I want you to get used to those tools. I want you to go to the Larson Life Group. I want you to watch the video on how we leverage those tools. Then, as an agency, we are prioritizing instant issue products. Instant issue. This is, that client is approved and that policy is issued before you are even off the phone. You don't even need to submit and wait for underwriting. SBLI, Americo, sometimes LGA, Moo and AmAm sometimes. I think I'm up to 6. Who has put a 6 in the comments if you have submitted an application to even a simplified issue carrier like Legal in General, LGA, and had it sit in underwriting for days, weeks, sometimes absurdly months with no decision. Does that protect anybody? Is that making money? Nope, no one's protected, no one's made money. We want to focus on instant issue business. Okay, I'm going to focus on SBLI first. That's going to be my focus. And here's what I want you to understand. SBLI was, in my agency here, was our #1 carrier in submitted applications in APV for the entire life of my agency until probably the last 4 months. It has dropped to the 5th or 6th one, and our issue rate has dropped with it. As we've stopped writing SBLI as an agency, our issue rate's gone down. Here's why I think that's happening. I think we have a lot of new agents that are coming in that are going through Navigator. Navigator does a terrible job of guessing what SBLI's premium payment to the client's going to be. And so it doesn't prioritize SBLI. And to your view on Navigator, it looks like your second, third, sometimes fourth best option. So you're not applying for it. When if you actually do what I'm telling you here, you're gonna get a better rate than anything from SBLI than anything Navigator's recommending. So this is my underwriting process. If they are a candidate for SBLI's Quility level term product, I run them through that app first. I will know if they are declined or accepted within a single minute on the phone with them right there. So I'll know if I need to pivot. I don't need to wait, get declined, and then try to get them back on the phone again. How many people did you see there have had declines and couldn't get back with that client? One of the best benefits of SBLI is if they're going to get declined, it happens right in the moment. You can have a backup plan and a pivot while you're still with the client. And I'm only going to pivot if they're declined or they don't get a good rate class, and I'm going to explain that. Why SBLI first? Because it's the only instant issue product we have with different rate classes. What do I mean by that? I mean they have elite, preferred, select, and standard rate classes. So all the other instant issue products, for the most part, are going to be accept or decline based on a single standard rate. They get it or they don't. SBLI is going to reward the marathon runner over the guy who drinks a 6-pack and eats a bag of Doritos every night. And the client is going to be protected for the best price, and you're paid the next day. Okay, right? People protected, you're paid. Making money is better than not making money. If a decline on SBLI, does it hurt the client? It doesn't, Amy. Nothing hurts the client as long as you can explain why. And so if I'm going, let's say I pivot off of SBLI and I go to AmAm. AmAm is going to ask me, hey, have they been declined? And I'm going to say, we applied for this and were declined, but this was an instant issue algorithm-based underwriting product. And I'm applying now to you because I want to get a human underwriter's eyes on it. I'm just going to explain. It was a totally different product that we applied for, and they're going to be like, all right, cool, we'll take a look. 0 issues. No issues whatsoever. So no, it doesn't hurt the client. The only issue is if you pivot off of SBLI to Legal in General, if they were declined SBLI, it's going to trigger the need for an attending physician statement from Legal in General, and that's going to be very difficult to get, and your client's going to sit in underwriting purgatory forever. So if you get declined on SBLI, don't pivot to Legal in General. Go pivot to American Amicable or Mutual of Omaha or Foresters or Americo for that matter. All right. SBLI first, I'm going to talk about the process here. Do not quote it to the client before applying. Do not mention the price of SBLI whatsoever to them. I'm going to explain why. What you're going to explain to the client is this is going to be the best option if we get it. And we're going to know in just a couple minutes. If we don't get it, if they don't accept us, no worries. I've got a backup plan. But if we get accepted, it's going to be our best option. I'm going to throw a few questions at you, and then I'm diving right into the application. After you get the offer, let's say they get accepted and an offer comes back, you can still make adjustments. You can still adjust the coverage amount. You can still adjust the term length to fit their budget. You just want to make sure they get accepted, they get approved, they get an offer. Now you can still play around to match their budget. You're not applying for $250,000. You're applying for SBLI coverage, period. They come back with an offer, and then you can still bounce around to fit their budget. But you don't want to bounce around to try and fit their budget before you know their rate class. So this is exactly what I want you to do without even running through Navigator. I want you to, number one, I want you to know what their qualifications are that they qualify. And if they qualify, if they are a candidate, ooh, Julie, I'm going to hit on this too. Sometimes it takes a few days to hear from SBLI. I'm going to pivot off of it if it goes to underwriting. I'm going to get them covered today. So I'll go to Americo and get an instant decision. Or if I think SBLI will be reasonable, and I really do think that they have a reasonable chance at this, maybe I will wait for SBLI's underwriting. But for the most part, they're going to be instant issue. But I don't want you going to Navigator. Watch this. Watch this screen. This is your HQ home screen. This is your dashboard. I'm going to carrier resources right here. I'm going to SBLI and I'm clicking info right there. From SBLI, I'm going to the agent login site. I'm clicking agent login, which is not going to take me to the agent back office like it does for most carriers. It is going to take me to a direct application to the product. So I'm going to go right to this quick quote on Quility level term. Go right there. I'm bypassing Navigator, going right here. They're going to say, get a life insurance quote in seconds, and they're looking for the client information. There are only 4 things required to start the process and look at potential pricing: state, date of birth, sex, and smoking status. That's it. So just put in the state, put in the date of birth, put in their sex, put in their smoking status. That's it. Put those in. Then you can run it. Here's a secret. The price does not differ from state to state in life insurance. The price is the price. Whether you live in Nebraska or New York, the price is the price. The only thing the state matters is product availability. This product is not available in Montana or New York. Every other state it's available, and it's the same price. So I've even had clients from states I'm not licensed in, like friends and family, reach out. Hey, I'm young, I'm healthy in my mind. They're an SBLI candidate. And they're going to be like, hey, I'm curious what it might cost me. Well, I can get an idea of what it's going to cost them. I'll just plug in a state I am licensed in, and I can get the cost. But all you need to start pricing things out is state, date of birth, sex, and smoking status. You put that in, and here's what you're going to get. You're going to, and oh, I actually gave you this example. I'm putting myself in Virginia, 7/11/81. I'm a male, non-smoker. That's all I had to put. I don't have to put anything else. I can play with hypotheticals all I want to. It's going to confirm that your client is eligible, and it's important to understand the eligibility requirements. So 1, they have to be a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, or a visa work holder. Okay? Have to be these. It cannot be replacing existing life insurance. If you click on that application that they are replacing a policy, they are not a candidate. It is going to decline you every time. So what do? Maybe the client was like, hey, Dana, can you help me save some money? And you're like, I think I can. And then they're going to probably do what? They're going to cancel that other policy if I get them a better one. So it's like I'm replacing it, right? Well, do I know for a fact that they're going to cancel that other one? I don't. So I'm not replacing it. If after they get this policy, all on their own, they decide that it's worthwhile to cancel that other one, well, that's a financial decision that's totally within their right to make. I don't know nothing about their financial decisions. I just helped get them a policy. They got to be between 18 and 65. These are your criteria. It's going to ask about vascular conditions. If they've had irregular heartbeats or vascular, they're going to be declined. They can have high blood pressure, but it needs to be controlled with fewer than 3 medications. It's going to ask about diabetes. They cannot have been diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. I think it's under 50. If they were diagnosed under 50, it won't take them. If they're on insulin, it won't take them. But if they were diagnosed over 50 and they're only on oral meds, great, fine. It's going to ask for major depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, major things like that. It won't accept, but simple anxiety, depression on a single medication, no issues. And then do any of these apply? I'm going to zoom in there. Cancer in the last 10 years, not a candidate. Felony in the last 10 years, not a candidate. Diagnosed or treated for drug alcohol abuse, like they've gone to rehab or they're on Suboxone or some other like quitting, not a candidate. Liver, pancreas, kidney, neurodisease, not a candidate. HIV/AIDS, not a candidate. Emphysema, COPD, no. A DUI in the last 5, no. Rheumatoid arthritis, no. Awaiting procedure or test results, no. Hospitalized in the last year or active military, they're not. If you say yes to any of these, they're not a candidate. So this is what I mean. It's my very first line of underwriting. Are they a candidate for SBLI? If yes, I'm going to SBLI. If no, I'm just going somewhere else from the beginning. That's my line of thinking. If they're a candidate, yes. If they're not a candidate, I go somewhere else. But if they're an SBLI candidate, we're going here first. So not more than 2 BP meds, controlled diabetes, diagnosed after 50, no insulin. Then it's going to bring you to this page right here. And I want to zoom in on some of these things. Over on the left, you have this rate class, and it's defaulted to select. Then you have years of coverage, 10, 15, 20, or 30. And then you have this coverage amount of 250,000. And here it is, this SBLI Quility level term. It's giving you a quote of $104.39. You are absolutely not going to tell your client that price. Not under any circumstances. What are you going to say? This is going to be our best option if we get it. If we don't, no worries, we've got a pivot option. We're going to know if we get it in just a couple minutes, and I'm going to throw some questions at you. This page is going to come up. None of it matters. Not one thing on here. Not the coverage amount, not the quote price, not the years of coverage, not the rate class. Everything highlighted is irrelevant. The only thing I want you to do is start application. Here's why. Because of this rate class, right up here in the top left, that rate class, there are different rate classes: elite, preferred, select, and standard. And here's the thing. You have no idea, neither does Navigator, which rate class they're going to qualify for. You have no idea. So what price are you going to give them? If they happen to get elite, that price for the same coverage, 30 years and $250,000, is going to be $60.90 a month. No, Dana, I don't use the rate class calculator above. I don't. If they get preferred, that same coverage is $79.82 a month. If they get select, it's that $104.39 a month. If they get standard, it's $154.85 a month. The same exact coverage could be anywhere from $60.90 a month to $154.85 a month. And I have no idea, nor does the rate class calculator and nor does Navigator have any idea which rate class they're going to end up getting. Nobody knows. It is a giant mystery. We're going to find out together. The only thing I want to mention here that I forgot to make a slide for is their build chart. Their height and weight will determine the best possible class they could qualify for. So when you're going to want to, on an SBLI candidate, go to the build chart, because if shaving off 2 pounds is going to get them a better potential rate class, you're going to do your client a big favor. So go to the build chart. Make sure, compare your client to the build chart, look at their best rate class. If you can add an inch to their height, take off a couple pounds, there's a little flex room in there. Help them qualify for a better rate class. But that even the build chart is going to tell you their best possible rate class. It's not going to tell you which one they're going to get. You don't know. I don't know. Calculator doesn't know. Navigator doesn't know. I'm telling you guys, I earned the trip to Banff, Canada with SBLI as a producer because all I did was, are they an SBLI candidate? Yes, SBLI. Boom, done. All I did, never quoted price. It's going to be our best option if we get it. If we don't, no worries. I've got a pivot option, but this will be our best if we get it. I'm going to throw a couple of questions at you and we're going to know in a couple minutes. Boom, start application, go. Only then did I pivot. Again, I earned a trip to Banff, one of the most gorgeous places in the world, from SBLI, just because. Yeah, Alana, absolutely you can do mortgage protection. If someone has a 30-year mortgage for $400,000, I'm going to set them up with a 30-year term policy for $400,000. Brilliant. I earned with SBLI. I love the carrier. I love them. I've got my own policy with them. I've got my wife's policy with them. I got my brother's policy with them. I earned the trip to Switzerland. I just got back from. Earned the trip to Switzerland with SBLI. I met Travis there. Travis earned it as a producer in 3 months. He wanted to go on a fancy trip himself that was going to cost a lot of money, so he wanted to write instant issue products that were going to pay him a good amount so he could afford that trip. Not only did he make enough money to afford the trip he wanted to go on, he earned a trip to Switzerland with SBLI as a producer. If you earn $60,000 with them in the year, you're going to go, now next year's trip is Italy. We're in qualifications for it right now. If you earn $60,000 in commission from SBLI between even this year, so everything you've done before, this year, you're going to Italy. You're going to Taormina on the island of Sicily with SBLI next year, $60,000 in commission. It's a full commission product. Some of you are going to earn 80% of your premium, some 90, some 100% of your premium. Start writing this. You're going to go on a trip. It's super fun. All right. So I told you, you're going to get to this page. When you hit that quote, you're coming to this page. Ignore everything. Don't even look at it. It's irrelevant information. All you're going to do is in this bottom right, you're going to start application. That's what you're going to do. Start application. Then it's going to bring you through 4 steps: the application, the beneficiaries, the offer, and then pay and sign. Those are the 4 things you're going to go through. The application itself has several points. I'm going to walk through each one. The first is about you. This is personal information. This is going to be them, their social, their phone number, their address. You're getting all their personal information. Then it's going to ask about their eligibility. Hey, are they a U.S. citizen? Do any of these other medical issues apply? Then it's going to ask them about their health. Hey, have you ever had this? Have you ever had this? Have you ever had this? Then it's going to ask them about their lifestyle. Do you smoke? Are you going to scuba dive in the next 2 years, or fly kites or jump out of planes or whatever? They're going to ask you about the lifestyle. They're going to ask you about felonies, about speeding. Then it's going to come to consent. You're going to get to a page where it's going to ask you to send an email or a text to the client. You're going to send them, I always default to text. I send them a text. Now that text is going to come through to that client. It could be an email. And this is going to be my conversation. Hey, I just sent you a text message from SBLI. It's going to be a hyperlink. You're going to click that hyperlink and it's going to bring up a website. It's going to ask you 2 things. One, it's going to ask you to confirm all the personal information. Make sure I spelled your name right. I've got the right address and social, so confirm that stuff for me. Second thing, it's going to ask your permission for SBLI to look at your online medical records. That's it. They're going to consent to SBLI looking at their online medical records. Charles, how do I handle the client not wanting to give the sensitive information without knowing the price? Because they trust typically at this point me that this is gonna be the best price if we get it. SBLI operates uniquely in that they first approve you, then they give you an offer. So again, we're not applying for $250,000 in coverage. We're not applying for a 20-year term. We're applying for SBLI coverage. Then we're gonna play with the price once we get an offer from them. So we get to that consent, which I walked through. And then we're going to, once they consent, it's going to bring you to a beneficiary screen. You're just going to enter their beneficiary there. Then is the moment of truth. It's the moment that I sit and I wait. I put in their beneficiaries, then I hit submit, and what happens? The processes and the wheel spins, and I know it's either coming back with an offer screen or a we're sorry they're declined screen. This is what I'm waiting for. They've consented, beneficiaries, now I'm waiting. If we get a we're declined, hey, there was something they saw they didn't like. This happens sometimes. They're a little bit bougie. They only take really healthy people. Sometimes even healthy people somehow slip through and there's something, no worries. I've got a backup plan. Okay. And then we move to the backup plan. You're going to get if they get accepted, you're getting an offer, which if they were good candidates, they're probably going to get an offer. Here's what the offer screen looks like. Exactly like the quote screen you saw up front, with one exception. The rate class is locked. You can no longer choose which rate class, but what can you do? You can still select their years of coverage. You can bounce around, check out different things. You can still bounce around coverage amount, but now you're going to know their exact price. So now you can be like, okay, I've got an offer here from them of $250,000 on a 30-year term policy that's going to be $104.39 a month. How does that coverage sound, and how does that price sound to you? Is that good? Do you want me to look at more? We can go up to $1 million here. What prices do you want to see? I can slide that coverage amount all the way up to $1 million and see what it costs. I can go down to 20 years on the term, 15 years on the term, and see what it costs. I can bounce all around to work with their budget. There's even a price by monthly premium where if they tell me, hey, this is my hard stop, I can put in their monthly premium and it's going to automatically tell me the amount of coverage. And here's the brilliant part. They've already underwritten it. This is not me giving them a quote that we hope they're going to qualify for. This is not a quote that's going to go to underwriting and come back declined. This is an offer, as in they're already approved. All they need to do is pay and sign. That is it, and you are done. They're already approved. It will ask you about a child rider. You can add a child rider in there, and they automatically include a charitable giving rider that defaults to Make-A-Wish Foundation, but you can put in whatever charity if there's one near and dear to their heart. That's no additional cost to them. Then they pay and sign. This is our only company we have that they can put their monthly premiums on a credit card if they want to. I don't recommend it because I don't want them to have to remember to update the credit card when it inevitably expires. But you can do a bank or a credit card. You're going to send them, just like you sent them a text or an email to agree to underwriting, you're going to send a text for them to sign it. Then you are done, and you are paid tomorrow. That is the brilliance of SBLI. Done and paid tomorrow. So here is your fun homework. Your fun homework is to run yourself through the application. Run yourself through it. See what you qualify for. Get comfortable with the process. See how easy it is. I ran myself through. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, I could help run that. I could help other people run through this. And then I started helping other people run through this. And then it was awesome because they got the best rate. And here's what I learned is it will almost always give them a better rate than Navigator is deciding or quoting arbitrarily that they're going to get. So you run them through Navigator, and Navigator is going to say they're going to get this. They're going to almost always do better than that if you actually just run them through the application. It also puts me in a position where I am likely at that point the only agent they've talked to where I have a bona fide offer on the table instead of just a quote that they hope to get. I've got an offer. In the life insurance world, there are different levels of pricing. There are advertisements, there are quotes, and there are offers. Advertisements are making a ton of assumptions that are usually extremely low priced that probably no one's going to qualify for, and you don't know the fine print that they made to get that exact thing. People don't know that. They see that as an option. They're like, well, I can go here and I can get that. You can't. That's an advertised price. You're probably not going to qualify for that. They haven't underwritten you. They don't know you, and they're making a lot of healthy assumptions because they want to show you a very low price that's going to make you be like, I want to talk to one of your agents. Then they're going to talk to one of their agents. They're going to underwrite it, and the price is going to come back high, right? That's an advertisement. A quote is a little bit better. A quote is I'm going to have a conversation with you about your medical concerns. I'm going to do my best to match you with what I think is going to work, but I'm still not sure it's gonna. And then an offer is, we've already done the underwriting. We're comfortable. Remember, two parts to an issued business is the insurance company agrees and they pay. One part, the offer's already done. You're halfway there. You've already got the insurance company agreeing to cover them at that price. Now, this is not an advertisement and this is not a quote. All you need to do is get the client to the table, and you can still bounce around coverage, bounce around whatever to fit their budget. All right. I'm 2 minutes over and I don't like being over. So I love you all. I appreciate you all. My favorite agents blow up my phone the most. You know this. I'm putting my number in the chat box. You should all have my number, but my phone number is right there. If you don't have it, save my number, know my number, text my number, call my number. Do not get stuck without putting your hand up and saying, hey, I'm stuck and I need help. I am here for that, and don't be a stranger. All right. Have a good evening, everybody. I will be in Baltimore at the Summer Tour Boot Camp tomorrow. So I know some of you are going to be there, and I can't wait for that. All right. Have a good night, all. I will get this up on YouTube as a replay probably on Friday because I'll be in Baltimore overnight. Bye, y'all.